Well, John, what do you have to say for the next YouTube video?
I don't know yet. We gotta think of something.
I guess so. The old Polaris two-step rev limiter going on here. Alright guys, welcome back to another Slayer Exciter Tesla Coil video. This is Wisco Pit Bike. We found out some other cool things with working with two Tesla coils. I was just kind of messing around with the old coil, the one that's been damaged and I run tests on and whatnot. And I had my new mid-size Slayer Exciter Tesla coil sitting here that I just got a couple days ago. And I turned this guy on and I noticed that I started to get a little bit of plasma out of this coil, and as you can tell, it's not hooked up to anything. This is the negative and the positive wire. They're just sitting here. So I was like, oh, well, it's probably just picking up some like back EMF or whatever. I don't know what all the terminology is called. I'm not an electrician. I don't know that much about this stuff. But anyways, noticed that, so I thought, oh, well, let's see what would happen if we connected up a ground wire to the ground. So I did that, and this thing went crazy. It went like, might as well have just had it plugged in. Like, it worked awesomely. So then I took the ground wire that I have here and I thought, oh well, being that the positive and negative are switched on the TIP 42 circuit versus the 41 circuit, I thought, well, maybe I'll take the ground wire and put to the positive. And I did that, and it really made that thing go crazy. So somehow, I'm not sure how it works exactly, but I can turn this Slayer Exciter on, hook up a ground wire to the positive wire of this other Slayer, and it just runs like nobody's business. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of show you both without it plugged in and with it plugged in, well, just to one wire. And yeah, maybe somebody on here can tell me how this is working, because I don't really understand it. So we're going to fire this guy up. Alright, so we got our plasma coming from there. Let's see, we got to move this guy a little bit closer. I adjusted a few things. So we got this guy over here, and this guy over here. The end of this coil, the top load wires here, and this guy's over there. Let's see if we... Yep, there we go. So now we got plasma coming out of both sides, both coils. And this coil's hooked up to nothing. If I touch any of these wires, it instantly burns. I don't know if you guys can see that, but... So it's running good. So if I take that and plug this into the ground, which this is the positive side, guys. I don't understand how I can plug this into the ground and plug the ground into nothing, and it works just as if I plugged it in normal to power and ground. So there it's hooked up. Now watch on this guy how much more plasma we get. I mean, that's running like full strength compared to, you know, just running a regular power source to it, and it's only got one wire hooked up to it. The primary Slayer Exciter, we're going to say, the one that's hooked up to power and ground, it doesn't have a lot of plasma when it's hooked up this way. It still will gain it, like it'll still burn your finger good. But the other thing I've noticed is, like, certain times when I had this light bulb over here, I'd set this guy down like right about in this neck of the woods, right? So it's lit up. And I think if I grab the ground wire to this, I think it'll get brighter. Oh, maybe not. Maybe that was the positive when I had it hooked up the other way. Let's try that once, see what happens. And yeah, if you guys are going to buy these, I highly recommend buying lots of extra transistors, because I've literally killed like a handful of them today. Killed all these transistors today. This one I actually blew up because I was playing around with capacitors and a little mini Leyden jar thing that I made, and yeah, it didn't work out so well. You definitely need to get better transistors if you want to run higher voltages. If you're just running the coil at normal, it doesn't really eat transistors, but I like to turn shit up and see what the limits of things are. It's a really good thing that transistors are cheap. You can order 100 of these for like 10 or 15 bucks on eBay, so I'm not too worried about it. But we're gonna go ahead and hook this coil up to the ground now, or the circuit up rather, to just the ground and see what happens. Because I thought before, when I touched one of the two wires when it wasn't hooked up, I thought the light got brighter. But we're going to test that out again. Alright, so as you can see, not as much plasma hooking it up to the ground, but does this? No, it doesn't get brighter. Maybe if I move it here, somewhere I was doing something and got it. There it goes. So when I touch that, it makes the light get brighter. I don't know how well the GoPro picks that up, but it's pretty interesting. And the other cool thing that works is, I can't understand how it works, but this circuit, obviously, it's not running the way it's supposed to because it's not hooked up to power and ground. It's just hooked up to either power or ground, depending on which way I hook it up. But if I pull the transistor, and don't yank out the wire. If I pulled the transistor, you would think that this coil would do absolutely nothing, but as you can see, it still has plasma coming from it. Not near as much, but it still does. And you'll notice when I plug the transistor back in, if I can do it without shocking myself, see how it gets better? Plasma picks back up. So I really don't know what I have going on here, but it's really interesting. Comment down below if you have a clue what is going on, and let me know. I guess we'll see you in the next one for some more Slayer Exciter Tesla Coil experiments. Alright guys, back with some more Tesla Coil experiments, and today we're making a little bit of hydrogen wirelessly. It's not very much, I still have to build a cell, but currently that's what I'm using for a cell. It's hooked up to this Slayer Exciter circuit, which isn't hooked up to anything. It's just being wirelessly transmitted from this coil and this Slayer Exciter circuit. So it's kind of weird when I turn this one on. I actually don't really get any plasma out of the top of this guy, but it actually comes out of this second coil, which is really weird. And I noticed that I can make a decent amount of hydrogen just by turning it on, but if I hook up the ground wire of this Slayer Exciter circuit to the ground, it actually works way better. So I'll kind of demonstrate that. So I'm going to set this down right there. The darker colored nail in front is going to be the one that starts making the bubbles. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. You'll notice it starts bubbling almost instantly. I'm starting to mess with the GoPro a little bit because I'm kind of close to a bunch of electromagnetic pulse and EMF and all that stuff, but you can see the bubbles come off there quite good. Now I'm going to go ahead and set the camera down on the cell, and I'm going to hook this wire up to ground. You'll see that it kind of works a lot better. Oop, that's all the Tesla coil doing that. I'm not zooming. It's doing it on its own. But here, we're going to go ahead and hook this up. Hopefully the camera doesn't go too crazy. Now it appears like it is making quite a bit more hydrogen. But yeah, it is really weird that the top of this coil that's actually being powered by the 12 volt 1.5 amp doesn't have any plasma coming off of the top of it, but yet the secondary coil is just going ham, and it's not connected to anything. This guy's just here kind of transmitting the electricity a little better, kind of like an antenna. But as you can see, this coil is literally just hooked up to this circuit and then ran into the water, making hydrogen. Pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this off. Makes the transistor get pretty warm quite quick. I still need to order a fan, but I just thought that was really cool that you could make hydrogen wirelessly, and it actually works out pretty good. I'm gonna try to build a small cell, probably about the size of like a cup of coffee or something, just for demonstration, and make it a little nicer instead of working with open water next to circuits, because that's how I burnt up that coil. So I'm kind of trying to take a little more precautions, but definitely need to get a cell and then get a fan so I can keep my transistor cool, because all these transistors are dead. As you can see, this one, I actually, oh, maybe you can't see it. Yeah, there you can see it. I actually exploded that one. So Transistors are dropping like flies, but I'll be ordering a bunch more soon, so we're just going to keep experimenting away and see what we can do. Okay guys, we're back to running just this Slayer on 12 volts, 1.5 amps. This Slayer exciter circuit and this Tesla coil are hooked up to nothing. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but I'm getting plasma out of both ends, and I just figured out another neat thing that if I take this light bulb, obviously, you know, it lights up when it gets in the field, but for some reason, if I touch one of these pegs to the ground wire or the positive wire of this other Slayer circuit, watch what happens. Ready? Doop. Gets super bright. I don't know how all that's working, but it's really freaking cool. Because this is literally hooked to nothing. It's just sitting there. So I thought that was neat. I'm going to keep playing around with stuff and see if I can figure it out better so I can explain it to you guys. But I definitely think all this stuff is really neat. It's a lot of fun. And it definitely keeps you busy in the winter months when there's really nothing to do outside. I have a lot of fun playing with these Slayers and building new circuits and whatnot. So it was just a last little thing I wanted to throw in there, maybe for a little outro. Comment down below what you think of this stuff, and we'll see you for some more videos.